Okay, things should be rolling. So sorry I'm a little bit late. This is gonna be interesting. I guess I can tell you what happened. So, well, first let's talk about what we're gonna be doing tonight. Then I'll get into that. So, what we'll be doing tonight is we're gonna work on. I think the last time we did anything, we had some issues with it. With the menus not actually working properly. So we're going to try and figure that out. And if we can figure that out, and when we do figure it out, we'll move on to, oh yeah, I was getting the menu button to open up the button and also the key press to open up the inventory. That's what it was. So we're going to work on trying to fix that. And that'll probably take up the entirety of the stream. I'm only going to stream for about an hour and a half tonight. So let me go ahead and get the right stuff open. This is not the right stuff. It's taking screenshots for my clients to show them Unreal Engine 4, the UI and stuff like that. They were thinking about going with Unity, and then I think I've convinced them to not go with Unity for a number of reasons. So Obi Sandbox and Project, okay. And I'll probably need the code open too because, well, actually, we'll see. I think we may have to do some debugging in the code, running through the code debugger, but we'll deal with that when we get there. So, my day today was frigging interesting. So, last night, I think I mentioned before in several other streams, I'll mention it again, next. Some people may not have watched the other streams. The company I work for has been having some crazy, frigging insane domain issues with Active Directory, which is a Microsoft application that sets up, basically allows you to network computers in an enterprise situation as opposed to like a work group you would normally do for like a home computer network or something. It gives you access to more stuff, and you can share, create network drives and share them, and allows a lot more stuff than you would get from a normal work group. But anyway, they've been having all kinds of problems with it, and mainly probably because of how it was set up in the first place. The original guy they had working for them, I think was, one of those tech guys that knows just enough to be dangerous, but not enough to actually do things the correct way. All the coding for their ASPX website's kind of that way too. I've been having to go through and clean up a lot of crap from that. But anyway, so I've been working with Microsoft for, I think, it's probably been a good month, 2 months, let's see, since the end of February 28th. Yeah, that was the problem. This isn't opening. Inventory is being loaded this, so that's what I'll have to do. Let's go and close this. So I'll have to run this in debug mode. Actually, it's already in debug mode. Good, so let's have to run it. So they've been having all kinds of problems with it, and last night we finally resolved all the issues. Finally. A whole bunch of stuff was wrong with it. I think there was a bunch of configuration issues on Microsoft's end somehow that they fixed. Then there was a bunch of configuration issues on our end that we fixed, or they fixed through remote control, through LogMe and Rescue. And then also I had a fun time for about 3.5 weeks trying to figure out how to get into our... is this still doing what it's doing? I guess so. It looks like it's still building. Trying to get into our firewalls because all the login information that we have on file for those was wrong. None of the usernames weren't correct. The password was correct, but the username wasn't right. So I took a long time trying to figure that out, and that was like a holy hell moment when I finally did get into them. So I had to get into the port forwarding so we could have the data coming from the one system to the other one correctly. So once we got all that solved, everything was working. Then this morning, everything went to hell again. And so I spent all day trying to figure that crap out. Managed to probably correct a lot of the configuration issues just by talking with people over in Spice Network, or Spiceworks Network, whatever it is. It's a like a kind of a professional networking / whatever forum. And then still couldn't get it working after all that, so I called the guy that I was talking with last night. We had another support session, and lo and behold, the problem was McAfee. Dastardly damned McAfee. So we had McAfee Enterprise Endpoint Security installed on one of the domain controllers, which is what basically controls the domain. That's why it's called domain controller. But we had installed it last night, or thought we had, and apparently about 45 minutes after we fixed everything, McAfee Agent, which is it's basically malware, really. It's something that runs in the background and detects when something's been uninstalled and reinstalls it. So if you uninstall something intentionally because you want to, it says, oh no you don't, I'm going to reinstall it. And when it did that, it basically crapped out the entire domain again. So I had to go in and nuke everything out of it this time. I just went in and deleted all the registry keys, deleted all the files after doing the uninstallation, because it leaves stuff behind. And then it worked. Everything's working again now, so that's why I'm on here a little bit late. I actually thought I wouldn't be on when I was. I expected to be on at maybe 8:30 or 9. So now what we have to do is, so that the inventory loads correctly. So, or at least it says inventory loaded. So we know that loads. So we're getting data here. Somehow between this point and when we were trying to open up the inventory, something just goes to hell and back, though. So let's put a breakpoint on. So there's a couple different functions we called it when we're doing this stuff. I want to put some stuff in here just so we can see what's going on when we're adding. Put one up here so we can catch this up here. So if it's hitting this stuff and not doing anything afterwards because of whatever, I want to know that. Let's put this in here. This is to found open stack. I also want, well, if we put a breakpoint there, it's not going to give us, well, it might work. One line's usually kind of annoy the debugger sometimes, so I guess I'll put something there too. Might as well put something on the item add as well. Well, it's all done by setters and getters, I guess, that's true. So that should be fine. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check the blueprints really quick. Let's see. Cancel. I clicked on the wrong thing. Well, I clicked on the right thing, but it ended up clicking on the thing behind it, so. True. So let's see where we're going through all this. So we're setting the UI HUD ref. We are creating the inventory class reference. We are casting it to inventory. We're setting the max space, the max stack size, and we're calling inventory setup. We're calling the notification widget at this point, and here is where we are. No, this is where it displays database connection, whatever, successful or something. Then we're going through all this. Then we're doing this bit, which is putting in the message about the inventory loaded. Then we are setting the cargo as inventory. Set cargo. Okay, we're saving the this instance of this to the cargo object variable over here, which is an inventory object. Then we're adding the HUDref to viewport. We are setting the UI index for that so that we can get it more easily for the other bits of things that we added, and then we are calling update inventory. So let's go to update inventory. So I'm going to go ahead and re-enable this breakpoint. I'm going to re-enable this breakpoint. I guess I'll re-enable these two as well. That way we can tell exactly what's going on with this stuff. I guess we could put a breakpoint here to make sure we're actually reaching this point, I suppose. Maybe somewhere in here we're getting stuck, I don't know. It's possible. Okay. Let's go ahead and play this thing and see what happens. So that's interesting. We didn't fall into the code. Oh, because that's only when we're adding items. Well, yeah, I guess adding is not going to be creating. So that's only when we're adding new things to the inventory, which we aren't doing yet, but that'll be okay. So that's where we're adding that. I'm pretty sure up to this point, though, we have the inventory actually created because it's the U item, the T array has stuff in it because we can see it from the output in the dialog box, the message notifications window. Alright, so get cargo, we're calling this, we're getting that. Current value is 0 because we haven't gotten past this point. Still 0. Okay, so condition. This first condition is this number, okay, 9, so that's good. So, false. Okay, I think what I was stating was that... Okay, I think I remember what I was talking about before now, because what happened is... Okay, we're doing all this, we're we're getting child ant, so we're assuming that there's... Okay, yeah, I remember this now. So, the way that I made this on this bottom part is wrong, because I'm assuming that the stuff's already been added to the window, the inventory window. Problem is, it hasn't been. And so when I'm calling get child at this index target, well, there's nothing there to get. So it's basically, it should be causing an error or throwing a null inventory out of bounds error or something, but it's not, even though it should be. Yeah, current value is 0 because there's nothing there. So what we have to do is, so if this equals this, we come down here to this. So if true, then we get the, and if not, okay, so the false pin. We have to develop out the false pin. So if they're not equal, well, but here's the thing. So we're checking the length of cargo. If it's equal to 0, then we're creating... this thing is just not making sense anymore to me. Somehow it made sense before, now it's not. Okay, so let me open up the... Let's go back to the other one where we have this implemented, where it's actually working, and see what we did with that one. Because I think there's some sort of logical error with the blueprint. By logic error, I mean I fracked it up. To UI, I want the main HUD, we want the main HUD, and we want this crazy function over here. Get inventory. Okay, so updates, get the flying pawn actors, we get that one actor, we set the P ship, we get the cargo, we get the inventory from the cargo, and then we... Let's get some stuff out of the way here so I can more easily kind of see what's going on. So, okay, we get that, and then we check the length of it, and it's that length equals the length of inventory menu. That's for the second one. For the first one, we're checking if it's 0. If it's 0, we're going to false, which is up here. Just calling cast inventory tile at the... Or sorry, if it's true, we're coming over here. Wrong one. So if it is 0, we're coming over here. We're getting we're creating a new tile. We're calling the getI name. We're calling the set name. Now this is still interesting. Ah. Wait. break that one, and this comes down to here instead. There. Okay, there we go. This one pin connection being wrong caused the whole thing to frack up. That's as bad as like a semicolon being missing. Oh god. Okay, let's see if that. Let's go ahead and disable all breakpoints, because maybe I want to use them again. Ah, there it is. Damn you, pin. Being in the wrong location. It's only showing one, though, which is interesting. But maybe that's what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to hit I to get rid of it. Okay, so the button doesn't work, but the I key works. Of course, we didn't implement the other thing. Well, it all should... That's interesting, though. There's only one of them. Where did I set up where we were actually, you know, creating what's supposed to be there? So that would be... Let's stop that. Okay, good. I'm not going crazy, though, so that's good. Well, okay. Never mind. I am going crazy, or I am crazy, but there was something wrong with it. I was going to say, I put it in the exact same way as before, and it doesn't work. What the hell? It's because I did all this awesome formatting of this stuff. I had to make it all messy for it to work. No. So that's going to be the flying pawn. We did this, well, 0, so it should be selecting everything. So why is it only displaying 1? Again, there could be another issue in here somewhere. So loop body. So we're going through here for each loop. First we check if this is 0. Well, we had the 1 in, so it's no longer 0. And then since that's false, we call this... No, see, there's still an issue here. So if we have... I think this has to come up to here too. Because if they are not equal, that means that... Well, it depends on how they're not equal. Crap. Okay. This is going to get interesting, to say the least. So, we need another one of these off. Int. So if the count from here is less than the length, let's put these in the order they're actually used. Basically what we're saying is that if this is less than this, then that's because we have things in here that aren't in here. If it's the other way, we have stuff in here that's not in here. So we'll have to process that differently either way. So the question is how to go about that, though. Oh, we have the index, right. But in the case of where it's not in this, but is in this, that's going to be interesting to try and figure out. I guess we could loop through here and maybe somehow build like a TRA of the tile indexes that are present here, that are not present here, or that are present here that aren't here, and then remove them from here. That would be kind of insane, but maybe that's the way we have to do it. But for now, we just need a branch. So what we're going to do here now is crapola. What we're going to do now is we're going to mess up all of our brilliant formatting. I'll have to fix all that later. Just, well, we have to kind of do this so I can get these things in a more appropriate position. So false comes down to here. Now, if this is less than this, then we want to create a new tile widget. So if true, we want to come up here. That's all I really care about at the moment. So I think if we do that... Aha, there we go. Now everything's showing again. Cool. Alright, so we now have our inventory working in our sandbox, finally. The coloring is off, though, as you can tell. These should be different colors than what they are. So I'll need to figure that out. That'll be in the... I just need to dock these in here. That'll be in the UI inventory tile. Yeah, see, it should have this stuff here, but it doesn't. Yeah, today was insane. Today the high was 93 degrees here in Phoenix. I was looking at the weather app, just sent a notification that the high is going to be 76. So get that 13-degree difference between the high today and tomorrow. It's like, welcome to Arizona and the springer, as I like to call it, summer, spring. There really is no spring or fall. It's just summer and winter all year round, in varying degrees of insanity. So I'm not sure why that's not applying for. It is like that here, and that's how it should be displaying, but it's not. It may be because they are being initialized somehow. Inherit. What does this do? Down the... Okay, we don't want to do that. But we can figure out that's a small fry kind of thing. It's not really what we need to worry about now. So we got that working. Now we need to figure out why the inventory is not showing on the button on the menu button press. Show. For that, we need to go to the UIVP, I believe, and I think the design. No, the event graph. No, it's a overridden function called on mouse button click. Here we go. All right, so okay, so mouse button down. No, this one isn't it either. It's this one, I think, maybe. Somewhere I have a... Here we go, yeah. So, click routing. Click routing comes in on mouse button clicked. Or unclicked menu button. Click routing. So let's put a breakpoint here. And over here. So we get the UIVP, found widgets. So this might be that same kind of issue. So, on inventory, branch true, toggle inventory, which calls the UIVP toggle inventory function, which should act like it does with the I key press. So I'm willing to bet we're not even getting to this point. Let's go to at breakpoint. So is enabled false. That might be interesting. Let's see what happens here. Alright, so we're getting to there. We're getting to here, we're going to there, We're getting to, okay, so we're getting to here. We are getting here. Now we're getting to here. No, we are not. Because that was what I thought. So, what I think we need to do is we just need to not care about this. Not care about this. We just need to send it to here. Because this will turn it on or off depending on whether it's enabled or disabled. Or at least it should. If we go check that over here, toggle inventory. Yeah. So if this is enabled, we unenable it or we enable it. Oh, let's turn off all the... Let's go and delete all the breakpoints this time. Aha! It works. Awesome. Our context menu is working. Awesome, awesome. And it works along with it pushing I to do stuff. Cool. I still works. Still works. What if I open it then? Perfect. That is awesome sauce. Okay, so now that we have that working, let's see what's next on the list. I didn't expect to fix that stuff so fast. So we got that one menu component done. Now let's go ahead and actually let's go ahead and finish off the inventory menu is actually not completed. So what I'm thinking about doing is being able to have these be clicked on, and when you click on them, it's going to bring up another window that'll have the details for it, or have it be where we click on it and we have like a section that we can put stuff into. That was the original idea, but I think it'd be better just to have it pop up a new window, or maybe on hover have it pop up a details panel or a window or something at the mouse cursor to show that information. So what we'll need to do is the same thing we did with the menu button. We'll have to do with the context menu. We'll have to do with this because it's got to be drawn at the mouse cursor. Not the exact same stuff, but quite similar. So first thing we need to do is we need to create a new widget called I guess we'll call it item details, or yeah, item details, I guess we'll call it. That's the best way to describe it, I suppose. I do want to open this up, though. So we do want to have... Okay, yeah, so there's no anchors, because we are, yeah, so we want to make sure we take the canvas out. Alright, canvas panel, you are gone. So, now, how do we want to do this? We definitely want to have the item image in there. And then we want to have like a, it's basically going to be like a, it's got to be like a, maybe we do want to use a canvas panel on this, actually. Obviously, we'll need to shrink it down, though, so it doesn't take up the whole friggin' screen. So, I mean, it shouldn't take more than, say... What are we using on the actual tile, though, for the image? It needs to at least have enough room to show the image. Or it could show a smaller version of it, I suppose. That's true, too. Let's do that. Let's make it be like a smaller version of it. That's actually kind of big. I don't want that to have to be that big. So we will have to, well, we'll make it a little bit larger because there could be a lot of text. So we got to do a couple things, first of all. First of all, we have to add a, an image, I guess. And we'll make that, yeah, top left corner. And then for this, we'll just do one of these ones to test with here. Size of the content, well, not exactly. So 130, no. What size are those icons? Uh, 220 by 120, 182. So, let's get our calculator out here. So 220, let's divide that by 25%. Or multiply by 25%. So 55, so 220 minus 165, and then 182 times 25. So we'll call it 46. So 182 minus 46, 136. So 165 by 136. Oops, I was gonna say that's not the right. It's that one. That didn't quite resize appropriately, did it? Let's go do it in Photoshop. Be a better way to do it, I guess. Here we go. We got one here. Image size, in percent. So 75%. And that would be in. You know, let's actually do it smaller. Let's do by 50. Let's go in half. Yeah, it looks a bit better. So what's the image size on that? So 110/91. That looks a lot better. 110/91 rather. And 110. Well, almost 110. Not quite 110 yet. There we go, 110. It does still kind of look crushed though. It's kind of interesting. I guess it's because that's the size. Yeah, we'll have to, we'll have to redo them in this size, I suppose. Save it. I'll call this thumbnail. Maybe we'll make it smaller. Maybe not. We'll see what it looks like in the engine here. So let's go ahead and import that. So 110 by 91. If we go back over to item details. Oh, maybe I do have it backwards. Okay, that's why it looked so weird, because I did have it backwards. Holy crap, okay. So yeah, that looks pretty good. What if we go back to the other version? Just really quick. Yeah, we can do it either way, so we don't have to redo them. Okay, good. Helps to get the correct numbers in the right places, apparently. Okay, so we got this here. I don't really care about the Is there just a regular panel or something we can put in here? Well, that is a canvas panel, but there's no appearance stuff for it. What I wanted to do is I wanted to make the background weird. Maybe no, just render opacity, tooltip. There doesn't seem to be any like appearance kind of stuff. Oh well. So I've got our image here. I want to have the item name around here somewhere. So we'll need to create a box. We'll add some text first of all. That's going to say item name. Well, we'll just do it this way. This will be like kind of like just laying it out to see what it looks like. We have like a center. There it is. So item name, I'd like that to be kind of centered there next to it. Okay. So then we need another 2 of these. So this will be item class. Actually, other way around. The type is the categorization of the item, and the class is the level or the sophistication of that item within the type class of that item. So something similar to that. Item class and type. So like for example, this could be, say, ammunition, and this could be say missile. That's what I mean by that. Those 2 values there. This is the type of item it is, and this is the class of the item of that type that it is. Not everything will have those. Some of them will only have a type. Some of them might only have a class. Well, it would only have a type. There would never be a no type item, unless it was like an error or something. So we got these 2 things here. Maybe for debugging purposes, we also add in another one for add one over here for the ID. Put it like right underneath there. Say ID. So then here we need a text box. Well, actually it would still be, it would be a text block, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be a box. Because we want to have a larger area for the description here. So text description. Actually, better yet. Well, yeah, we'll just say text. When we go through, we're going to link all these up to the item class fields as far as pulling data in for those from the database. So when we go to actually test this, I'll put in the ipsum, whatever the hell that phrase is, randomly generated crap into the description of one of the test items, and we'll see how it works. Size to, what I want to do is I want to have it be wrappable. Auto wrap text, there you are. And it doesn't really matter if we size it or not, because it's not going to be, there won't be any kind of like background or anything. So description, we'll add another text block down here for the value. So for now, it's just going to be value. Eventually, it might be value in region, or it might be like there might be an option here we can use to display a different value depending on what the option is, what you choose is. Like, for example, once you learn the one of the trading skills or something, maybe it'll unlock the ability to look at the value based on the region or based on the current system that you're in or something like that. In addition to having just the base value of it from the database. So value, and we want the SG2. And we don't really need another number of items that's on the inventory, and that doesn't really apply to the actual item description and things. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to try and clean this up a little bit. For now, we really could stack these like this, and we could bring these over. Well, it depends on how long the item name is, I suppose. I'll have to figure out some way to account for that with this. So what if we stack them, move this down a bit. So it's still a fair sized thing. Okay, I think that looks good though. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try and hook all this stuff up. So let's actually test that. Let me see. I need to open up SQLite Professional. I need to go find the right database though, because I want to look up one of the longer item names and see how it fits in there. So it would be underneath weapons, I believe. Okay, let's do this. Make this a lot easier. Select from weapons where name There we go. Wasn't sure if it was the same syntax as SQL Server or not. Apparently it is. Oh, that's what I'm looking for, is that. That is not null, and name. So how do you get the length of... So SQLite 3 get length of field. Really? Simple as that, alright. Length. And length of name is greater than 12 characters. Okay, let's go more than 16. Okay, more than 25. Okay, more than 40. Nothing is more than 40. More than 35. So I think both these are probably the longer ones. So I'm going to grab this text and just drop it in here. Oh yeah, okay. So even really small, it's going to be an issue. So that's good though. We need to have that kind of thing in there. So it's a weapon, laser. Did I want? Oh, I didn't want to do that. It's like, what the hell just happened? All right. So that's way too small in the text. Let's say 20. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll send this up this way. So I want to make this centered at the top of this, which is where it'll show up now. We will that's interesting. So what if it changes, say, so it doesn't actually stay centered. But it will if we don't say size to content. So we're going to not size it to content, and we're going to leave it there at the top. Okay, then let's put this back to 24. Actually, I may even be able to go to 26. 30. 30 is a bit much. Well, not really. It actually fits pretty well. So we'll do that. We'll have to figure out a way to do this manually so we don't have to like make this a certain size, make this resize or reorder to, well, you know, for that would be a grid panel, wouldn't it? This is true. I have no clue where that went to, but okay, so then so this now, so if we do it this way, we will need to do the smaller item size, the smaller image size, because, well, maybe not. There's a size down here. Okay, we'll just have to set the image size then. 91. Manually somehow, so that still works that way. I can't go any lower than that because it's okay. So, item name. That's interesting. It'll actually resize it that direction too. Cool. Text description. Let's make this 22. Item ID can be 18. This can be 20. 20. Or 1091, yeah, that's right. Okay, now maybe we can shrink this down a little bit and actually get rid of the content panel. Alright, so that's going to be variable. It's going to be item image. And description, which will be a variable. Or would it be a variable? No, I don't think it'd be a variable. Let's undo that variable thing. Well, yeah, we wouldn't have to get any of the information from this. This is just displaying information we already know. So we don't need to have any getters from this, basically. That's for the item type. Okay. Now we will have to have variable. Well, can we bind them to themselves? That sounds like a very interesting question. So we won't do that. We'll make variables to bind to them, but we won't make them variables themselves. So we also don't need any of this stuff. Except for item image is the only one we really need to have a. Well, even then, no, we don't need that one to be a variable either. We just bind the brush to a variable. I mean, I suppose we could make it a variable and use that for the bind, but I mean, I don't know what kind of issues that would cause. So we're just going to do this the same way I've done the other ones before. So, string, item name, and description, Item class. Actually, we will need to add a. Well, let's see. If it's ore, yeah, if it's ore, we'll need to have a couple extras. Or stage or tier. We'll also need to have ore resource 1. This will probably end up being an array of strings eventually, instead of handling each one individually, like this. That's all we really need to know for that, for the ore bits. Item value and item SG2. Then we need a new variable called slate brush, called item image. Compile all that and then bind everything. I'll need to add that. Haven't added that yet. Type, class. So some more text blocks. Oops. Don't want a text box, I want blocks. Okay, so down. Too bad the arrow keys don't work for this. Alright. And actually, no. I want to put these two there. Well, okay, there we go. So these are, what was it, 20? So, or stage. Or tier. And finally, we actually need another one of these too, don't we? So this one's going to be and or res 2 or resource 2. Essentially, it seems a little bit crushed, doesn't it? A little more than before. It could be just an effect of all the stuff around it pushing it in various directions. What I don't get is why item ID is so massive for... Row 0, row span 1. 2. Ah, there we go. Okay, well, we gotta figure out how many rows we want to do. 3 should be fine. And this should just, this one is row 1. Everything else is kind of out of the way too. Okay, that works. Interesting, column span doesn't seem to work. So this might not be the best one to do either. We'll see what happens with the text description. Especially when that kind of messes around with the other formatting when you change that stuff. That's like the full screen though. I don't want it to be the full screen. Well, we'll see how this works out. Alright, so there's those. Still need to bind these though. Or stage. Or tier. Source 1. Source 2. I need to create one for that. So that'll be bound to that one. Okay. So now we need a function to oh. What else? So name, image, ID. And oh, we need to change the binding on that one. Okay, there we go. So I think it's not going to try and fill up the entire space every time. We'll see how it looks when it gets drawn. So what I have to do now is go to the inventory tile. So we already have a button here that this is on top of. So what we need to do with that button is create an on-hovered event. What we also need to do is we need to bring the button actually above everything. So that we can interact with it. So on hovered, and that's where we're gonna create our information here. So what we'll need to do now is, so we're gonna hover over a tile. The tile has the tile index in it, so we'll need to loop through our cargo inventory and find the item that has that index and then pull the data from it then. So a new function in the code. And actually, this is the debug thing, so we need to compile this and save everything. So I can close this, and then we'll switch to the other view, or not the other view, switch to the other thing, and switch to the other mode, and go from there. Let's go ahead and let's do a rebuild just in case we need to. Let's doing that. Jump over here real quick. Nothing new. Okay. Go ahead and close that. No, what is this? Hot reloading because why? Oh, because the other one's open. It's friggin' annoying that if you have any editor windows at all open, not just the one related to the project, it can cause it to have that issue. Okay, so while we're waiting, time for some potato mashing. So 111 pharmacies. Alright, succeeded in the script, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and that's the wrong one, isn't it? That's the mining tech demo, we want the other one. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to open up, let's go to inventory. And we need to add a new function to get an item at a specific tile index. Now we have one that does it at an item index. So get inventory all items. There should be one for an index of the array. Except we don't have that one yet either, do we? So maybe we'll add that one as well. So we'll need them both eventually. So get inventory. So we'll say e function blueprint callable category equals inventory. So return a U item. We'll call it get item at index. Master an int index. Oh. Do the same thing since we'll say get item at tile index. We'll say tile TLIDX. So one of these we'll use to get them just in general from a specific spot in the array, and then this one we'll use to get the item from a specific tile index, meaning the specific index of where the specific. It's like if we pull it from the UI, in other words, we can pull out that particular item without having to do anything weird with it. like looping through the array and checking the item index to each other. That's that's how you really have to do it in the blueprint without this, but with this it makes it so much easier. So we still got to do the implementation for these, so let's go do that. Save that, inventory, put it at the bottom. Get rid of this stuff because I don't need it. And then you inventory. So return env items dot or can we do it that way? Yeah, I think that's how we have to do it. Now for this one, it's going to be a little more interesting because this one we're going to have to loop through. Well, let's see. Yeah, but loops in the code are faster than loops in the blueprint, so it still has a performance benefit. So I'm actually going to create a U item here. Or is it new object? It is new object. Create object is the old one that's deprecated. Then return RTN item. In between, we want to do a loop over that stuff. So for U item so if TL IDX equals IDM dot get tile index RTN item that's not going to be blueprint callable, so we'll leave it camel case instead of whatever that other naming convention is called. Item header, where are you? You are not even open. That's where you are. So, int. Okay. Oh, duh. There are pointers, so we have to use the arrow accessor. Okay, return the item, and then return that. Oh. So now, need to do a build real quick. And yay, what is that? Category. A for errors. Category. C, functions. Okay. Ah. Cat orgy. Good luck getting that image out of your head. I did it twice. Well, not quite orgy, but close enough. Alright, let's go and build it again. And that time it worked. Okay. So now we need to go back to our UI stuff here. Item details. There it is. Actually, you know what? We're going to call it item details. Item DTS window. Now we'll just spell it out. We'll leave it that way. Maybe, yeah, window. I was thinking maybe doing wind, but, Okay, let's redock this up here. Nope, go in there. Stay in there. Okay, and I see it did this again. I think we need to do this instead of a canvas. Alright, delete that. Copy this, delete it. Canvas panel. Re-edit. Anchor to well, it should be no anchor. Whoops. Okay, definitely do not want to do that. I guess we can put it there and we'll see what happens. Maybe something. This may be something I need to do a little bit of research on to get it to work properly, but should be fine. Let's back over to the graph now. So we need to add a function called set data, I guess. Set item data. So in this we need to have, so maybe in this part we just have it pass through all the data we need. It's gonna be annoying as all hell, but to do all the pinning for it, but I think that's just what we have to do. And we'll have like conditions and whatnot for whether for all these other things for the OR stuff. So inputs. Lots of inputs. So, item name, and description, item ID, item type, or stage, or tier, and these are all strings. Ah, come on. Wish there was a faster way to change all these at once. Of course, there is the faster way of just creating them one at a time once you have the type selected, but who has time for that? So we need another one. So state item value. SG2. The slight brush. And then we already have the item ID. Alright, so that's everything. So, now we need to pull all this in. Rather, these are all going to be sets. It's going to be such a friggin' nightmare to do all the pinning, but on both sides of this call, function call. So for the OR stuff, we'll need to do some interesting calls and whatnot. Oh, we'll need to add We'll need to add a flag in here as well called debug mode. Alright, so first things first, we need to set the stuff we're always going to set. So it's going to be the SG2, the value, the name, the description, type, and the class. And everything else we just pull off over here for a while. The type, but maybe not always the class. It'll be more common than this stuff, but it will be sometimes there won't be a class. So. First things first, we'll go ahead and set the image. And the name. Then the description. Alright, now so branch if true. Set the item ID. If not, skip it and go to the next one, which will be the type. Or if it is sure, it'll still be type. So both need to come down there. Item type. Next. So if length is greater than 0, then condition true, go to the class, set the class. Next will be the item value. And then the item SG2. Oh, there it is up there. Hiding away up there. Okay. Then we want to do the same process for these other ones. Again, we'll have to come through here and fix this up later, but so if there's no ore stage, there won't be an ore tier or resource or anything, so we can actually skip at that point. So that's like a nice little shortcut thing we can do there to prevent any extra processing we don't really need. That said, there's still going to be a lot of friggin' nonsense to deal with here. Actually, let's go with the set. If true, it's going to go to resource 1. And we need one more group of this. Okay, that craziness is done. It's probably a much easier way to do that, but that's what we got, so. Now, like with the menu, we'll have to have a visible and not visible. So we'll need to add two new functions, or two new variables and a toggle function. We'll need to have a one of these enums slate visibility or whatever it's called, and then also a bool for the enabled. Slate visibility, that's it. Say, So we'll say detail panel viz status. And then obviously the B is enabled. Oh, it's already in use. Source B is detail panel enabled, and that's going to be a boolean. What else did we do on that one? Not there. On oh no, it is there. Inventory is not a separate window in this one. We'll need to make it so though. Same thing with this. Everything that's here will have to become its own. It's in here by default. Will have to become its own thing. We can just add in manually, or add in dynamically rather. So we do need to figure out exactly what we did with that. All right, we changed the set of that, and then do the return node. Let's do a set. So if true, set it to false, and if false, set it to true. In the return node. Okay, so now on hover button, call show details panel. Except we need to create it. Show details panel. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to create a widget. So on hover, why don't we stop hovering? to put around what you want triggering the event. Bind its on mouse move. Trigger whenever the mouse is over the border. On hover begin, on hover end. So button on hover end. Okay, on mouse enter and leave. Okay, interesting. So on tech, Jesus. But I guess that's the way you kind of have to do it. Or we do the other one, which is the mouse on. Event on mouse enter. This might, let's try it this way first, because this looks a bit more doable than putting something on tick. So forget that. On mouse enter. On mouse leave. Should be hide details panel. Okay. So we go over to here, and now we have to figure out this bit. So first of all, we have to get the UI. That could be a bit annoying, though. Just noticed my particle emitter's not showing anything anymore. Interesting. Alright, so set IDX. Forget where that's used at now. I think it's in here, actually. Potentially. Or not. Can we find like references to it? I think we can. Set U index. Oh, I thought we could. Oh, there we go. So set and get. Really? That's the only time we use it. Set and get. So when do we call it get? Oh, right. We cycle through and then look to see the UI. Okay, yeah. It's used in somewhere. I think it is over here somewhere. Okay, yeah, so that's what we need to do on this then. Or rather on the inventory tile. Get all widgets of class UIBP. Oh, duh. One step in between we forgot to do, which is that. Now get UI index. So if true, then clean this up a little bit. Okay, so if it is the right one, which it should be because it's going to be the only UI, BP UI being used, UI BP being used. But so if true, then we want to add, we want to create a widget. Inventory details window. Add to viewport. Then we need the player controller, I think. So it's got to be UIBP. Or not. Damn. Oh yeah, here it is. That's right, we overrode that function there. So get screen space position. That's on the mouse button down. So position's a 2D. Oh, okay, so we have to create a 2D structure. 2 vector basically. Tile. Say position. It's a vector 2D structure. That's what I was looking for. And then we need to use the set position and viewport once we add it to the viewport. So set Position and viewport. What's the name of that? It's set item data. And this is where all the fun comes in. Just gonna throw this stuff down here for the moment. So, now we need to get a little creative. So we need to call this. Need to call update ship. So once we get true, we need to call this. And then we need to call get ship. And from that, we need to call get cargo. Now from cargo, we need to call, or rather, he's called that. The one we called get cargo was the function that returns the array. We want the actual inventory class instead, because now what we want to call is get item from get item at tile index, and that's what we're going to throw this into. And then from this, we're going to here. Or rather, I guess we go to here and then to there. Alright, so okay, I stand corrected. Item name, and description, we'll have to have something in there for like the is debug thing. For now, we're just going to leave this as true always, and we're going to print out the ID. Is there no get ID function in here? I thought there was. No, there's not. Okay then. Oh. Duh. Ah, come on. Okay, so you kind of get the idea of that. So how long have we been streaming for? 2 hours yet? It's probably about time. So, I think we'll go ahead and end the stream here for tonight. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the. If you watched it live on Twitch or YouTube, hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube afterwards, comments, questions, leave them below. And what I'll do is I'll try and get this system done and working for Friday. I think that's the next stream is Friday. Yeah. And that way, get all this done, and once we do it on stream, we can move on to something a little more interesting, like, say, the targeting system, possibly. And we'll see where we go from there. So, I'm still recording Chrono Cross 2. Maybe another week or two, depending on how bat crap crazy things go at work, if they do again. Hopefully they don't, now that we got effing McAfee uninstalled from there, so I won't have any other domain issues like that. So yeah, might be having them. I might have that stuff ready to go and start uploading as early as next week, as late as maybe a week or two from now, or a week or two from then. So 2 to 3 weeks. Just depends on how much time I get to do stuff. I'm also working on other things, and as opposed to, in addition to that, like this, and also working on Legend of MLR bits. So this has been taking up a lot more. I've been doing a lot more work on this, because what I want to do is I want to get this tech demo done by the end of April for the update. That'd be really nice to get it done for that, but we'll see what happens. Still quite a bit of time left in April, so we'll see if we can get it done or not. I'm actually making pretty good progress on it. We have a lot more of the systems implemented now than I thought we would by now. Lot to go, though. A lot more complex things to go. So we'll see what happens. But until next time, this is GeoWill, and I will see you later.